Well, our final interview today is with Danny DuBose, and Danny served in the United States Navy from December of 1975 until September of 1984. Danny, why did you decide to join the military?
Well, I had a military background in our family. My father was in the Army Air Corps. My uncle was in the Navy. Big influence on why I chose the Navy. Had another uncle that got killed in World War II serving in the Army Air Corps. So it appealed to me already. And then I had a boss that I worked for at the medical center and a supervisor who were both retired Navy. And again, that was a big influence on my going in the Navy. And one of the administrators at the hospital where I worked before I went in was a retired submarine captain, and he was a Pearl Harbor survivor. Fascinating man, and he, again, a lot of influence on my decision to go in the Navy and a lot of influence on my decision to go subs.
That's an interesting choice to go into the submarine service. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as we say to our fellow Marines, the only thing lower than a Marine is a submarine. And
Very good.
It just appealed to me. It really did. They talked to us about it during boot camp, and so it appealed to me, and I volunteered for it. Pretty much, if you volunteer for submarine duty, you're going. You have to go through a few tests and things like that. But it was, if I had it to do all over again, I'd do it again in a heartbeat. I really would.
So I guess the submarine is your duty station. Tell us a little bit about life under the ocean.
Can't be beat. It's you go to sea with 130 men and you come home with 65 couples. but no.
Can you edit that out?
Yeah, maybe. But the camaraderie cannot be beat. You are a close-knit family, and you literally put your lives in each other's hands. From the moment you close the hatch to the moment you pull back in and open the hatch. And you have to be educated. In submarines, they call it qualified. You have to be qualified to do so many things, whether it's in-port duties or underway duties and responsibilities. And you have to display a knowledge, and it takes about a year typically to become qualified to wear a set of dolphins like aviators wear wings, submariners wear dolphins. And you have proven that you have a very thorough understanding of every system on board. Electrical systems, hydraulic systems, pneumatic systems, nuclear power systems, and on and on and on. And each little entity within there, like what the radiomen do or what the sonarmen do, what the torpedomen do, everything like that. You have to prove to a board at the end that you have that knowledge, because you have to be able to maintain that life. If something happens, any kind of disaster or accident or incident, you are prepared to respond to it.
What was the longest that you were under the ocean?
88 days.
88 days.
Typically the longest, that was 40 years ago this year. Typically the longest that they had at the time predetermined, was 72 days. And I did that twice as well. But on this particular one, we got extended, and we did 88 days. We went down in the middle of August, and we came up for Thanksgiving. And it was a long time.
Well, is there any particular experience that you'd like to share with us as a result of those deployments?
Well, one thing I can say, I don't know about particular, I can, and you know, it's funny because a lot of what we did was classified and highly classified, but one thing that I can say is we did go all over the world. I have been literally all over the world, and one thing that's amazing to me is that a lot of the places in the world that are in the news today were places that we showed an interest in back then. But seeing the world, seeing enemies, seeing potential threats or enemies, but seeing friendly ports that we hit as well really opened my eyes, and I enjoyed it. I loved everything about seeing the world, but it makes you proud to be an American.
Mm-hmm. Well, what advice would you give to young people who are thinking about joining the military?
I think the leadership skills that you develop and that you're allowed to have are can't be met, can't be in the civilian world. And the responsibilities that you're given at such a young age. You can be still a teenager, and you can be at the helm of a nuclear-powered submarine. And I know, I can't speak for the other branches, but I know that when I was 22 years old, I was a sonar supervisor. Sonar is the eyes and the ears of a submarine when they're underway, and I was a sonar supervisor of a multi-million-dollar nuclear submarine, and that's a lot of responsibility for a 22-year-old.
It is.
But we were all that way. Excellent. I would recommend it to anybody that if you wanted to really, the Navy prepared me for everything I do in life still today. It prepared me for my career, and I would give that advice to anybody to be prepared.
Well, Danny, on behalf of the Jones County veterans, I want to thank you for your service to our
Yes, sir.
country.
Thank you.
And just appreciate your thoughts
Yes,
today.
sir. Thank you, Richard.